Now listen, let me tell you something the way Steve Harvey would say it. A lot of people think attraction is all about big moments, big words, fancy dates, and all that. But sometimes the smallest gesture can say the loudest thing in the room. And one of those gestures is a hug, not just any hug. I'm talking about the kind of hug that makes a man pause for a second and think, hold on now. What just happened there? A hug might seem like one of the simplest gestures in the world, but the truth is it carries a kind of emotional language that many people underestimate. When a woman hugs a man with sincerity, warmth, and calm energy, it communicates far more than just friendliness. A real hug speaks without words. It tells a person, I feel comfortable with you, and that message can be incredibly powerful. Men often experience a lot of pressure in daily life to appear strong, composed, and emotionally controlled. Because of that, moments of genuine warmth and comfort can feel surprisingly meaningful to them. A sincere hug can break through that wall and create a moment of connection that a man doesn't easily forget. Most hugs people exchange are quick and routine. They are more about politeness than emotion. Someone leans in, touches shoulders briefly, pats the back, and then steps away. Those hugs don't carry much emotional weight. They are almost automatic, something people do out of habit. But when a hug is sincere, it feels completely different. There is a sense of presence in it. The person giving the hug is not rushing or distracted. Instead, they are fully in the moment, and that presence changes the experience. A man can immediately feel the difference between a casual hug and one that carries genuine warmth. The power of a sincere hug also comes from how it creates a feeling of safety. Human beings are naturally responsive to touch when it comes from a place of trust and kindness. When someone hugs you in a calm and natural way, your body relaxes. Stress softens for a moment, and you feel understood without anyone having to explain anything. For a man, that brief moment of comfort can mean more than people realize. It signals acceptance and emotional openness, which are qualities that many men value deeply, even if they don't always talk about it. Another reason sincerity matters so much in a hug is that people are very good at sensing authenticity. Even if nobody says it out loud, most people can feel when a gesture is forced or artificial. A hug that is given simply because it is expected often feels stiff or awkward. The arms might go around someone, but the energy isn't really there. On the other hand, when a hug is genuine, it feels natural and relaxed. There is no tension or hesitation. That authenticity is what makes the moment memorable. A sincere hug also shows emotional confidence. When someone expresses warmth openly, it reflects a level of self-assurance and comfort with their own feelings. Confidence in emotional expression is attractive because it shows maturity and sincerity. It suggests that the person is not afraid to show kindness and connection. For a man receiving that kind of hug, it can feel refreshing because it creates an atmosphere where he can also relax and be himself. Small gestures like this may seem ordinary, but they often leave a deeper impression than grand actions. People remember how they felt in a moment more than the details of what happened. When a hug carries genuine warmth. It creates a feeling that lingers long after the moment has passed. A man might not always be able to explain exactly why it stood out, but he remembers the comfort, the calmness, and the sense of connection that came with it. That is the quiet power of a sincere hug. It communicates care, presence, and authenticity in a way that words often cannot match. Confidence and warmth can completely change the meaning of a hug. When a woman embraces someone with a calm and natural presence, the moment carries a kind of energy that is difficult to ignore. It's not about doing something dramatic or complicated. It's about the feeling behind the gesture. A hug given with confidence shows comfort, openness, and emotional balance. Those qualities make the moment memorable because they signal that the person giving the hug is relaxed and genuine. Many people underestimate how much body language communicates, but human beings are constantly reading signals from posture, tone, and movement. When warmth and confidence are present, those signals become very clear. Confidence in a hug doesn't mean being forceful or overly bold. It simply means being comfortable in the moment. When someone feels comfortable in themselves, their actions look natural. They don't hesitate or rush through the interaction. Instead, they approach the hug with calm energy. That calmness creates a sense of ease for the other person. A man receiving a hug like that immediately feels the difference. Instead of awkwardness, there is a smooth and genuine connection that feels effortless. Warmth is another key element that gives meaning to a hug. Warmth is the emotional tone behind the gesture. It shows kindness, friendliness, and appreciation for the other person's presence. When warmth is present, the hug feels inviting rather than formal. It's the difference between a mechanical greeting and a moment of real connection. A man can sense when someone is hugging him simply because it's expected, and he can also sense when the hug comes from real affection or happiness to see him. That emotional difference makes the experience stand out. People often forget that confidence and warmth together create a very powerful impression. Confidence without warmth can feel distant or cold, while warmth without confidence might feel uncertain or shy. When both qualities exist at the same time, they create balance. The hug becomes natural and expressive without feeling forced. It communicates emotional security, which many people find deeply attractive. Emotional security suggests that the person is comfortable with themselves and with the connection they are sharing. Another reason confidence matters is that it shows authenticity. When someone feels good about who they are, they don't feel the need to hide behind hesitation. Their actions reflect sincerity because they are not overthinking every small movement. In a hug, this authenticity shows through relaxed body language and natural timing. The moment flows easily rather than feeling stiff or rehearsed. A man noticing that kind of authenticity may not analyze it consciously, but he will remember how genuine the moment felt. Warmth also has the ability to create emotional closeness very quickly. A brief moment of kind physical contact can remind someone that they are appreciated and valued. That feeling of appreciation is something everyone responds to but men especially may not experience it often in everyday interactions. When warmth is expressed clearly, it breaks through emotional distance and creates a simple but meaningful bond. In the end, a hug shaped by confidence and warmth becomes more than a greeting. It becomes a small moment of connection that feels real and comforting. The energy behind it tells a story about sincerity, emotional openness, and genuine presence. Those qualities turn an ordinary gesture into something that lingers in memory because it feels honest and heartfelt. There is a clear difference between a casual hug and a meaningful embrace. Even though on the surface they may look almost the same, many people give hugs every day without thinking about them. These hugs are usually quick and automatic. Someone leans in, their arms briefly go around the other person, and within a second or two, they step back and continue the conversation. This type of hug is mostly a social habit. It's a polite gesture that says hello or goodbye, but it doesn't carry much emotional depth. Because it happens so quickly and without much attention, it often leaves no lasting impression. A meaningful embrace, however, feels completely different. The biggest difference is the level of presence involved. When someone gives a meaningful hug, they are actually present in that moment instead of rushing through it. The movement is calm and natural, and there is a sense that the hug is intentional rather than automatic. That intention is something people can feel immediately. A man can recognize when a hug is simply polite and when it is genuine. The genuine one feels warmer, more relaxed, and more sincere. Another difference lies in the energy behind the gesture. A casual hug usually feels neutral. There is nothing uncomfortable about it, but it doesn't communicate much either. It's simply part of a greeting or farewell. A meaningful embrace carries emotion. It may express appreciation, happiness, comfort, or connection. Even though the hug may last only a moment, the emotional energy behind it creates a stronger impression. People often remember the feeling more than the exact details of the moment. Body language also plays an important role in distinguishing between these two types of hugs. In a casual hug, people sometimes lean away slightly or keep part of their body turned aside. This creates distance even while the hug is happening. It's not necessarily negative, but it shows that the hug is brief and routine. In a meaningful embrace, the body language is more relaxed and open. There is no rush to pull away immediately. The posture feels comfortable and natural, which allows the moment to feel more genuine. Timing is another factor that changes the meaning of a hug. Casual hugs usually happen quickly during greetings or departures when people are focused on other things. A meaningful embrace often happens during a moment of real connection. It might occur after a meaningful conversation, during a moment of shared laughter, or when someone wants to show appreciation. Because it is connected to an emotional moment, the hug becomes more memorable. The difference between a casual hug and a meaningful embrace may seem small, but the emotional impact can be very different. One passes by without much notice, while the other leaves a feeling of warmth and connection that stays in the mind long after the moment has ended. Timing and emotional connection play a very important role in how physical affection is experienced. A hug can feel ordinary or deeply meaningful depending on when it happens and what emotions are present in that moment. Many people focus only on the action itself, but the timing behind the gesture often determines how powerful it feels. When a hug happens at the right moment, it carries emotional weight that words sometimes cannot express. For example, after a meaningful conversation or a moment of shared laughter, a hug can naturally express appreciation and connection. In those situations, the hug feels like a continuation of the emotional bond that has already formed. It doesn't feel random or forced. Instead, it feels like the natural response to the moment. Because of that, the person receiving the hug often feels understood and valued without needing any explanation. Timing also matters because people are emotionally sensitive to context. A hug that comes when someone needs comfort or encouragement can feel incredibly supportive. It shows awareness and empathy. A man, like anyone else, can recognize when someone understands his emotional state and responds with warmth. That awareness creates a sense of closeness and trust. Another important part of timing is not rushing the moment. When affection is given too quickly or without attention, it can feel mechanical. But when someone pauses and allows the moment to happen naturally, the hug feels more genuine. That small pause shows that the gesture is intentional rather than automatic. Emotional connection is the element that ties everything together. Without emotional connection, a hug is simply a physical movement. With emotional connection, it becomes a shared experience. It reflects understanding, comfort, and appreciation between two people. Even if the hug lasts only a few seconds, the emotional meaning behind it can leave a lasting impression because it reflects a moment where both people truly felt connected. Comfort, trust, and genuine intention are some of the most important elements behind any meaningful gesture of affection. When these three things are present, even a simple hug can create a powerful emotional moment. Physical gestures carry more meaning when both people feel safe and relaxed with each other. Comfort allows the interaction to feel natural instead of awkward or forced. When a woman hugs a man in a way that shows she is completely at ease, that calm energy immediately makes the moment feel more sincere. Trust plays a huge role in how physical affection is received. Human beings instinctively respond to touch differently depending on the level of trust they feel with the other person. When trust exists, a hug feels warm and reassuring. It creates a moment where both people feel accepted and respected. For a man, this sense of trust can be very meaningful because it shows that the person hugging him feels secure around him. That message often carries more emotional value than words alone. Genuine intention is what brings comfort and trust together. When a hug comes from a real place of kindness or appreciation, people can feel it instantly. The gesture doesn't feel like a routine greeting or something done out of obligation. Instead, it feels personal and authentic. Genuine intention removes the sense of performance from the moment. There is no pressure to impress or create a dramatic scene. The hug simply becomes an honest expression of connection. Another reason intention matters so much is that it shapes the energy of the interaction. When someone hugs with real warmth and sincerity, their body language becomes relaxed and natural. There is no stiffness or hesitation. This relaxed energy helps the other person feel comfortable as well, allowing the moment to flow smoothly. When comfort, trust, and genuine intention are present, a hug becomes more than just a physical gesture. It becomes a quiet way of communicating appreciation, warmth, and emotional closeness that both people can feel without needing to explain it. Small gestures often carry a surprising amount of emotional power, especially in relationships and moments of connection. Many people believe that attraction and closeness grow only through big actions, dramatic words, or grand displays of affection. In reality, it is often the smallest and most natural gestures that create the strongest emotional impact. A simple action like a sincere hug, a warm smile, or a gentle moment of attention can communicate feelings that words sometimes fail to express. These small gestures matter because they feel genuine and effortless. When someone expresses warmth through a simple act, it shows authenticity. There is no sense of performance or pressure behind it. Instead, the gesture reflects real emotion and appreciation for the other person's presence. For a man, noticing these subtle expressions of care can create a deeper sense of attraction because they feel honest and natural. Another reason small gestures are powerful is that they create memorable emotional moments. People rarely remember every detail of a conversation, but they often remember how someone made them feel. A moment of warmth, kindness, or comfort can stay in the mind long after it happens. That emotional memory strengthens the bond between two people. Over time, these small gestures build trust and closeness. Each simple act of kindness adds another layer of positive feeling to the connection. Even though the gestures may seem ordinary, together they create a strong emotional foundation that helps attraction and understanding grow naturally.